Okay, so moving on from the cutter that sank the Albemarle, we've now got, Jack will tell you,
CSS Manassas. The Federal Navy called it the Devil Ship because she was almost unsinkable at the time, owing to the fact that the water line came up round about there. About 70% of the ship was actually submerged
wow.
because she was originally, I think she was a tug. So basically nothing special, wooden hull. They kept
Right,
the
so
same
it was a
engines
tug and they built the iron cladding
all
on
the
the
way
top
over
of it.
Yeah, again about 2 inches of rolled out iron plating, riveted and built up with timber behind. So it increased the weight from round about, I don't know, I might be wrong on this, but about 150 tons to about nearly 500.
But was she top heavy in any way, or did she
Um,
sit well?
well, no, she didn't sit well. She was very, very slow. And
Because
after
the
steer,
engines had to, they were only the same engines and had to cope with like
yeah, a
what
wooden ship,
3 or 4
yeah,
times the weight of what she was built with.
absolutely,
That's a fairly impressive stack there, smokestack in the
yeah,
middle. Is that the original smokestack,
yeah.
or did they do
Probably
anything? What was this? What was the size of the engine on this sort of vessel
not
then?
quite sure, Kevin.
Right.
But
Okay.
again, new research,
Yeah. No problem. No problem.
Uh,
Well, I think as you pointed out to me, you said there's really not. There's a lot of the information is very sketchy, isn't it?
yeah.
This is the problem, and it's remarkable that you've been able to do this with such, and it shows the tenacity of you with your research and your passion. That you can get something if you really want to. So, what's she got on the prow there then? Some
She's
sort
got
of beak?
an 11-inch.
No. The
Sorry.
actual prow here that I'm looking at, where
Oh
your
no,
finger
no.
is now.
That's just
What is that?
a tow eye.
A tow eye, but the point, the peak, the beak at the
Yeah.
front there. What is that, Jack?
Well,
Is that?
she's called a ram.
It is a ram.
The idea was to build up speed, but I
Huh?
think she only got up to about 6 knots. So
Right.
basically, with a little bit of speed and momentum,
Yeah.
she was quite effective. But
I was going to say with
she
500 tons
basically,
behind
yeah,
it.
but I don't think she really sunk many ships in her time. But again, she was quite formidable, and she caused a lot of fear and disruption in the Federal
Really?
Navy,
Because it was bouncing off her.
bouncing off her. Yeah,
Wow.
but I do believe her fate was that when she grounded
Yeah.
and she exposed a wooden hull. Then
Oh my
the
word!
Federal
They
Navy
had a
really
right
pounded
go
her
at it.
and
Yeah,
set
yeah,
her
yeah.
alight, and
And that was the end of
end
her.
of the days. Yeah, she had one front firing. I think it's a 9-inch smoothbore
In there.
in there.
So it's probably a hidey hole here. It's got
Oh,
like a little flap. And was that flap was operated by that chain, I'm assuming?
Yeah. To pull back the gun.
And that was mechanical, it had to be.
That
Or was
is
it a
probably-
winch
it
or
could have
something,
been
a man
steam,
operated?
or it could have been
Yeah.
crank.
And that actually closing in there, that is actually the gun. Jack's cut that bit away, and that shows us the carriage of the gun. And
The
and you
working
can see-
conditions must have been diabolical.
Oh, do you imagine with the
Absolutely.
black powder or whatever charges they were using? I don't think they had cordite then, did they?
No, even
No.
black powder. No.
But black powder would have been murder.
Oh, smell horrible.
Well, just the dense smoke
Yeah.
in it,
And the heat
and
from the
heat.
engine rooms.
And being enclosed in being like in a, for want of a better word, a tank, if you like.
Tank, yeah.
And so the anchor again would that have been operated mechanically?
Probably
To
mechanically.
be dropped
yeah,
down the side.
yeah.
It's got one each side there. I can see
Again,
another one over
there's
there.
no research that can indicate.
No. But you can kind of, if that there's operated mechanically, then
You can
your
summarise
chances are,
on what they would have done.
yeah, you can take an educated guess to say so. That's very interesting, that one, Jack. And it's twin screw at the back there. There's one, I see there's a screw there. Must be a screw on the other side.
Yeah. It's a double shaft. Yeah.
Double shafted. Okay.
Right. This is CSS Teaser. Now this ship is so unique because officially this is the first aircraft carrier in the world. Basically, the aircraft being a balloon, but it's still basically.
It goes up in the air. It goes up in the air. It's an aircraft.
So basically, all they've done, they actually launched it from the bow of the ship. The balloon was quite unique because the Confederates basically they had really very little to work with. So what they done, they asked all the ladies of not Charleston, Richmond.
Richmond, yeah.
Could they donate all their silk dresses, right? And they did. They all stitched together, and they lacquered it with a shellac, and actually filled it up with coal gas. So you got an explosive bomb here on a steam engine pumping out sparks, and you think, oh,
right next to it.
yeah, where else do you go from? I do believe.
And that's the gondola there, or the
that's
basket.
Yeah. She had a 11-inch.
Wow, look at that monster on the back there.
Yeah, stern gun, and I think this was a 6-inch bell gun.
And these are all muzzle loaders, are they?
All muzzle loaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a swivel gun. 2 swivel guns.
When you say swivel, how do you mean that?
But actually swivels around.
Oh, it's on a pivot
on a
base.
pivot, central pivot. Yeah.
A central pivot, and swivels round so it can fire broadside.
Oh yeah.
So it's got a traverse.
Absolutely.
It's,
but when you consider such a small ship for such a big firepower,
I know.
and I do believe she started her life as an icebreaker, and I think her original name might have been Enoch Train.
But I tell
She
you
was a
what,
New York
I mean
icebreaker.
that'd have a bit of a kick, which is
absolutely.
fine when you're firing fore and aft.
Yeah.
But that, which is virtually double the
that is a monster.
the poke,
Yeah.
if you had that swiveled to port or starboard and fired, the ship must have, the recoil on
Rocked.
the recoil forces must have caused the ship to really heal.
Yeah, and she was only 80 foot long.
Wow. So that packed a punch, didn't it? With that,
It would have.
and again, used on rivers, presumably used up the river.
Yeah.
And
She was
this,
river
so
running.
this, I think, what you gave us a fantastic information on the dresses and so on. But obviously, this would have been an observation balloon.
Observation balloon.
So for presumably either scouting, reconnaissance, and so on, or artillery observation.
Yeah.
I'm assuming,
Army
you know.
movement
Yeah. Okay, so that's yeah. I'm only without stealing your thunder. I'm just sort of backing that up for what I mean. Essentially, this kind of device on land is what they call a captive balloon. Was this balloon tethered, or did it just go up and came down by releasing the gas?
No,
so it was a captive balloon, yeah.
Captive balloon, yeah.
Right.
I mean, she would have been on a rope all the time.
Yeah, that's a captive
There's a
balloon.
winch here, yeah. So she would have raised, and they could winch her back down again.
I tell you what's fascinating, Jack, and that is the inventiveness, the ingenuity of the Confederates particularly, and each time it's the Union that having to react to this. It must have given them the right
so little to work with,
but what I know, what I love though
tenacious.
is the, and I think we're going to see other ships that you're going to show us as well. I think that submarine that does the dredging on which you're going to show us presently, again, and this balloon type vessel, same sort of thing. It's just. Balloons had been around prior to that. I mean, Montgolfier brothers, and I think they had balloon observers back in the French Revolutionary Wars, 80 odd years before this. But the point is, they'd done it on a ship. And again, the riverine wars that they had in the American Civil War are, for me, a huge and important part of it, because if you don't seal off those riverways, you ain't going to subdue the Confederacy at all. You're not going to split it. You're not going to subdue it. You're not going to cage trade or anything. And so, and the Confederates well knew that, as we observed earlier on in this conversation. So it's fascinating to see that. So that's that. So and what's this ship called?
The Teaser.
Teaser.
CSS Teaser. And I think the word teaser means to
tease the enemy.
To tease the enemy.
Yeah.
The
teaser. It's slightly, should we say, ironic title. I like that. I like that very much.
An under-documented ship. I really think that the American Civil War archives should really mention more about her, because she is so unique.
Yes.
Never before has a balloon been.
Well, let's hope, Jack. Let us hope that you're highlighting it, and here we are. There's actually a 1 centimetre to 1 foot scale model of the teaser. So thank you, Jack, for that one. Right, so we're going to move on now. So literally moving up and on to.
This is a small vessel called the Spuiten Deville. That might be the wrong pronunciation, but what she was a small vessel of only 207 tons, 80 foot in length. She had a long boom with about 4 torpedoes on the end stored. It was her job to actually clear the rivers, because what the Confederates were doing, they were actually sinking old ships to block the rivers.
So this is a Union vessel?
This is a Union vessel.
Right, gotcha.
The Union wanted to get their warships up to basically start shelling and bombarding the important parts of the Confederacy along the Mississippi and all the other rivers. And it was her job. She could actually sink herself right up, and with the boom she would actually blow up the wreck, scatter the wreck, so
they flooded tanks on board, I'm assuming.
Tanks, yeah, to sink her, part sinker.
And she went right down to the water, the deck.
Yeah.
Went down to the water.
But bearing in mind she was made in 1864, and the technology really for the time is quite mind-blowing. She was a wooden hull, armoured on the top. She carried no guns. She didn't need them.
Again, the ingenuity here, because you think yourself, we've got a problem. How do we solve it?
Yeah,
Why are these two flaps on the front on the bow here? What are these, Jack?
Basically, they would retract the boom and close the flaps, right? So she could actually drain out the tanks and actually sail on.
Oh, I see. So that gave it more aqua dynamic force, if you like.
She had a boom here to ram the wrecks. Basically, she was like a floating bulldozer to clear out the wreckage.
Gotcha. Oh, wow.
So they could get the gunboats up.
Yeah, it's a bit more of an aerial shot.
She's quite a unique little vessel.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Oh, wow. I love the explosive charge. They like a bit of this, don't they, the Americans, during this war, these explosive charges on the end of a... I'll tell you what, even again... It's not far, is it, from the explosive tip to the ship? They must have felt some sort of concussion on board.
They carried about £50 of powder, black powder.
I mean, that's a good experience. There would have been a big bow wave over the front, or like a spume of water over the front of the ship. Stone the crows. Okay, so that's that one, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the What's this sort of mushroomy type thing on here?
Air intake.
Air intake. What, for the tanks?
For the crew and for the boilers.
Yeah. Right. Nothing to do with the pumping the water out or pumping the water in.
No. She sucked in air, pumped out air. The idea was that she was almost sealed.
What about that? This here, if I can point to it. What is that there? What is that?
That's actually that is the ship's wheel.
It's a ship's wheel. Well, that's an interesting position, isn't it? Yeah. What, a bloke stood there and turned it that way?
Yeah. He stood inside there.
Wow. Inside the air intake?
Inside the air intake. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good God. I tell you what, there was no, how can I put it? There was no finesse in the sense of, everything was practical. And every bit of space appears to have been used on these ships.
No comfort at all.
There was no comfort, no allowance for. It was like a proper, like being actually living and fighting in a piece of machinery.
That's all it was.
Rather than there being sort of segregated compartments where you had a bit of carpet in it and you could sit down and have a smoke. It was like, get on with it. Wow, that's fascinating. Wonderful. What a wonderful bit of kit that is. And again, it's, I say it again, ingenious really. How they kept coming up with different ideas, almost like, tank, anti-tank, tank. And this is just, necessity is the mother of invention, isn't it, really, as they say.
To make this.
And it does. It's a truism. It's always been the case. Wars are terribly destructive.
How can we kill people more efficiently?
How can we kill them more efficiently? Yeah. But as I say, but then comes up with technology that then moves itself into civilian life after the war. Something that's developed during the war for
the good of mankind.
The destroying stuff is then used. Oh, actually, that'll be good. We can use that commercially in the civilian world. Wonderful. So that's the, what's it called? The Spoiten Duven?
The Spoiten Duville.
Because you said it was Native American. It sounds kind of Dutch.
It could be a mixture of both languages. I do believe the word means a flowing river.
Flowing river.
Absolutely sure on that.
Let's just put that there. There it is. So if anyone knows what that word means, or those two words mean, that would help us immensely. Meantime, we're going to call it Spuiten Duivil. So there she is. Okay, Jack.
This is a very typical Mississippi flat-bottom gunboat, basically designed to sail up the slow-flowing rivers of the Mississippi and the Delta. She would have controlled the Delta as well, but she had a very, very low draft, of no more probably than about 4 foot, 5 foot. And she could actually skim the bottom of some of the rivers.
Really?
And she was paddle worked, so basically she needed about 4 or maybe 4 or 5 foot of water.
Ah, yeah, of course, she's got to be that low for those paddles to go in the water.
But she's a typical ironclad.
And are they armoured? The paddles are armoured over the top?
They would have been armoured. I can turn the ship round the other way in a minute if you like.
Yeah, well, you can do that. That would be lovely, Jack. Yeah. So this would not have been exposed.
No.
You've cut this away.
I cut this away
to show
you
the paddles.
Yeah.
Would they have been that colour, yellow, like that?
Possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know, but
I mean, you're going presumably historically. You've looked at historical illustrations and photographs, and you've seen that they're. I'm not being just out of pure interest.
Sketchy information as well.
Yeah. So
the engines are reciprocating pistons. They actually moved up on a big pivot because they had a long crank going on to the wheel, which worked in a moving sort of situation like this. I think she had 4 boilers. I've only done 2. I wasn't quite sure on the information, but I think I found out later that she may have had 4 boilers.
Okay.
But our ship's got 2.
Okay.
She's a wood burner because
Ah.
getting coal up and down the river has not been difficult. So there's plenty of wood around anyway. You know, it's everywhere you go in the States, you can always cut down a tree and use it for fuel.
They usually do.
Yeah. She was heavily armed. 2
Let's have a
guns
look.
on the
Go on.
on the
Let's have a
stern.
look. So they're the gun ports at the back there.
They're the gun ports, yeah.
So I'm going to have a stern view here. Oh, stern view. Okay, mate. Yeah, I'm going to have a very stern view of this. So those are they're interesting screws on the back
These
there.
are 2 propellers. Basically, so she could steer. I believe.
Okay.
Port or a starboard propeller would set in motion and actually turn the ship because, what they would have done, it would have slowed down one of the pistons on one of the paddles and again get the momentum to turn a left or right, port or starboard.
Oh wow, that's interesting. And again, I can see working it out for myself here. These chains on these ports would be the thing mechanically that would lift the gun port.
Lift the gun port up for firing.
And we'll have a look at this at the other end at the bow.
I think she weighed around about 420 tonnes.
Wow. And what was the length of this one?
She would have been about 160 foot.
Right.
About 150 foot, yeah.
Okay.
But she leaked badly because they actually constructed her very, very quickly using green timber.
Ah, okay.
And the timber did twist.
Yes. It would distort. What is that in there, Jack? That's the base of the chimney stack, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the chase. Twin stacks, and that's an armoured wheelhouse there.
Wheelhouse, yeah.
Okay, and it's got a timber lid on it. Is it? Yeah, that's an observation platform there. Got a ladder up here, is it?
Oh yeah.
Or do you get up from the inside?
Ladder up the back.
Ladder up there, but you must get on the roof there from the inside, I'm assuming.
You can
Has
do,
it got a hatch on there? Yeah.
There's a hatch.
And then we got what have we got here? Observation. These 2 slots at the front here. What is this?
Again, observation.
That's an observation thing.
Yeah,
and so you've got these now. The guns at the back look from the gun ports here. There's an interesting arrangement. That split one. That because they must be quite heavy. These No. Not so much the guns. But I'm talking about these panels at the front here. These 2 panels. They must be quite heavy. So I see here they've got a split to make it easier to.
That's right. Yeah.
If you like mechanically.
I think they were armed. A man worked with a.
I'm looking there, yeah. When we look round go from the inside, if we look carefully, you can see that sort of
the information
iron disc there, above the barrel, is the mechanism that would operate the chain that drives the the flaps of the
Open
gun
up the
port.
ports, yeah.
And what calibre are these, Jack? These
11-inch.
11-inch. That seems to be a fairly
An
common.
average, yeah.
And they're muzzle loaders. These.
Muzzle loaders, black powder.
And the elevation is the crank at the back there that you've built into the gun. Yeah. I love all the detail here, Jack, with the worm and all the other tools.
Bearing in mind, you probably have about 15 men working in a confined space like that with these huge big guns firing off.
Now these are pivoting guns or swivel guns. What was the term? They call them swivel guns, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is an old naval. I mean, swivel guns go back. The term a swivel gun is any gun that pivots
Goes back
on
into
a central
history,
point. You know, during Armada and even earlier, back into the 15th century, they had swivel guns. on the gunnel of the ship. They'd swivel it round and they'd rake the decks or whatever. But here, the term's used for a gun that swivels. It's not in a turret. It is in a fixed turret, but it can be withdrawn back in and pivoted round on. You can see the wheels there. And would that be done with ropes and pulleys?
Yeah, a block and tackle.
Block and tackle.
But you'll have 8 or 9 men pulling on a block and tackle.
Yeah.
The guns would have weighed round about 6.5 ton. Big heavy guns.
Big heavy guns.
But
yeah.
then again,
they're iron, aren't they?
They're iron.
Iron guns. Yeah.
Because they are Delguns.
Dahlgrens, yeah.
Dahlgrens,
okay, but the advantage historically of iron guns is that they were, because obviously you've got cast bronze and you've got iron guns. Iron guns, I think by this time in history, the sort of mid-Victorian period, the iron was of a much better construction and much more reliable because you've got a lot of blowouts. 200 years before this, 300 years before, with iron guns, you could mass produce them.
Yeah.
Huge mass production, which is why the English used to go for the cast iron guns. But the big disadvantage is they had breech blows and all the rest of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Bronze was a lot more expensive. It was a lot lighter as well. That's another advantage
really
of bronze.
Tougher in
but
some respects.
But a lot tougher. You didn't get the blowouts on them, and so bronze guns were much more sought after.
Very expensive,
but very, very, very expensive by comparison. So that's why the iron guns came to the fore. But I think, I'm not a metallurgist, but I think iron guns in this period became much more popular. Yeah, were much better quality than they were. I don't know whether they'd have been produced in foundries using developments obviously from the Industrial Revolution, but definitely I feel they would have been, because you don't really hear about breech explosions in cast iron or in iron artillery from this period. So, and throwing what size? It's 11-inch, which is obviously the bore diameter in the front there. But what would be the weight of that shot? Do you know? Without putting you on the spot.
Probably around about 115 pounds. That's an heavy shot.
That is. I'm being distracted by the wardrobe opening on me. And that you've got in these, there's a little hole. Is that a fuse for an explosive shell?
Some would be explosive, but I should imagine the best part would be solid.
Solid shot.
Solid
I can
shot
see
more effect
these
on
ones look. Oh, absolutely. As a battering device, a round shot is always going to do much more damage. This sort of shot, explosive, is anti-personnel. Or firing overhead, or get the penetration. Yes, because you set light to buildings and any combustible material, it goes off and bang, that's it. And you need a combination of both. But I think what's fascinating about these type, this sort of more primitive type round shot shell is you've got to set the fuse and you've got to know. You got to measure the distance. I've got to see. I mean, this is a proper setting the time. As far as I know, this is a fuse that is a fuse. It's not an electronic device. It's a lit fuse. And was it ignited by the concussion of the gun, the detonation of the charge, or was it lit before it was put down the shaft, down the tube?
Both.
Right.
But again.
Well, we can
information
check that.
being-
I think I'd like to check that and put
Okay.
that up as an information caption because it would be interesting. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to know
Interesting detail.
what that is, but it's just interesting because again, it's all fraught with danger, isn't it? You lighting a
Absolutely.
bloody fuse and dropping it down
Too
the
early,
barrel
mate,
and all
or
that,
if you
mate.
get scared
Bosh,
in the
they
barrel,
don't-
you're going to get out of that ship.
Don't look down that barrel. What happened to him? Well, he was looking down the barrel. Is that why he's got no head? Yes, sir. So
he's
what
only
you've got
5
is
foot
two. Now the white cutaway here on nearest to the where you've not put the boat.
Yeah.
I know you've done the boat, but you've not put it on so you can see it clearly. But the white wall is what? Is that? It's an outer wall, but is it wooden?
It's wood.
It's
all
wood.
timber.
Okay.
If you like, we can turn the ship around and you can see the ship.
Yeah,
from
I
the-
think if that's okay, Jack, we'll
I
do
left
that.
out they call them cutters. We might have called
Yeah.
them lifeboats, but the American term was a cutter.
I think we call them cutters as well.
Yeah,
I don't think I think passenger ships they call them lifeboats,
yeah,
but the Navy are a bit more prim and
Cutters.
proper.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Get the cutter out.
Would you like to turn it, Kevin?
So here we are. This is what the other side looks like. Here's the boat in position. Jack's removed the other boat because you get a better view inside. But here's there's the side view. So carry on, Jack. Carry on.
As you can see from this angle, the paddles were armoured. I think
Yep.
the plating was around about 1.5 to 2 inches in rolled out iron again.
Mm-hmm.
We have the cutter. I think the Americans called them the cutter. We may have used the same term as well. Only 2 cutters, basically because she was a riverboat. Even if she sunk, which I think she did, she only sunk up to the top of the hull.
Of course, yeah.
And they
It's
refloated
relatively
again.
shallow waters.
Yeah, and she would actually skim the riverbed in some situations, where she'd actually take the touch in the riverbed.
Wow.
But she was purely a flat bottom Mississippi gunboat, designed
And there she is.
for the shallow rivers.
Beautiful view of her from the front there. That's cracking, Jack. That's wonderful. The 2 big anchors on the front, big flat front deck. Nice for sunbathing when you're not under attack by the
That's it, mate.
Davids.
Ain't being shot at.
when you ain't got Davids creeping about to get you. God, blimey. That's a lovely view that down. God, look at that. You could be flying over with an early double winger observation. Flying over the
bomb.
deck there. Yeah, drop a bomb on that, mate.
Again, I like to simulate the rust.
Yeah.
None of my models are clean and tidy. They look
No, it's
dirty.
wonderful. I love it.
got mud.
It's what I like. Look at that. Looking down. I'm going to look down the muzzle of that one. Get hold of that. Yeah. Absolutely
And they were
wonderful.
big guns. And
They are
were quite
monsters.
successful.
As you say, 110 pounds.
Yeah.
That hits you, you're going to know it. So, that is this vessel. And now we're going to move on to the next one.